Alright, we're moving on to homework 26, man. We're adding up these homeworks really quickly. Anyway, homework 26, just like 25, just like 24, you have two systems to solve and then two systems to graph. We'll take it one at a time. Our first system that we're going to solve looks like this. I'm going to say right out, first on this one, use elimination. You got positive 6x and negative 6x. If you were to add the equations together, the x's would disappear. So we're going to do that. Add the equations together to get rid of the x's. Negative 6x plus 6x is 0x. You got 5y plus 4y, that's 9y. And on the right side you got 1 and negative 10. Add those together to get negative 9. There's no x to deal with because it's 0x. 0 times x is 0. And we just got positive 9y. So divide by the 9. We're trying to get y by itself. You get y equals negative 1. Now to have y equaling negative 1, take it and plug it into one of your equations. I'm going to plug it into this second equation because I can. You can plug it in the top one, either is fine. I'm just going to plug it in the second one, mostly because it has positive numbers. Okay. Remember, y gets replaced with negative 1 because we found out what y was. It was negative 1. Okay, here I got 4 times negative 1. That is negative 4. So you got 6x minus 4 equals negative 10. At this point, I'm trying to get x by itself. Work outside in. Get rid of the 4 first, then get rid of the 6, because the 6 is closer to the x. So you got 6x equals negative 10 plus 4 is negative 6. You got to get x by itself, so divide by your 6 that's in front. You get x equaling negative 1, because negative 6 divided by 6 is negative 1. You get the point negative 1, negative 1, because both y and x are negative 1. Ta-da! Move on to a number 2. So this one, you can either go for substitution. This first equation, if you were to add 5x to both sides, you would get y equals negative 7 plus 5x. And then you could substitute that in for the y. Or you can change your first equation so the coefficients match up. I notice here the coefficient's 1, here it's negative 3. On the other one it's negative 2 and negative 5. From looking at that, if I take my first equation and I multiply it by 3, I'm going to get 3y. And when I... Oh no. I'm always mixing these up, guys. Sorry. I have negative 3x and negative 5x as my coefficients. And I got positive y and negative 2y as my coefficients. So if I take my first equation and multiply it by 2, the y's would match up. I'd have positive 2y and negative 2y. And if I add those, they could become 0. So I'm going to go for that because I can. So I'm going to take this first equation times the whole thing by 2. When I do that, I get 2y minus 10x equals negative 14. Something that I'm going to do also is interchange the x and y just so they match up with my other equation. And so I'm actually just going to rewrite, I'm going to rewrite my equation here to make them match up. So remember, it was positive 2y and negative 10x. And that equaled negative 14. Okay, now my equations are ready to be added together. You got negative 3x and negative 10x. Those add to be negative 13x. Negative 2y plus 2y is 0y, so we're not going to deal with the y's now. You got negative 12 plus negative 14. That is negative 26. You gotta get x by itself, so you got to divide by negative 13. Well, negative 26 divided by negative 13 is positive 2. We finally got x. Now we just have to take x and plug it into one of our equations to figure out what y is. I'm going to plug it into the first original equation because it's really close to being solved for y. Because it's y minus 5, replace x with 2, because that's what x is. And from here, I'm just going to try and solve for y. Negative 5 times 2 is negative 10. And I need to get y by itself, so add 10 to both sides. And you get y equals 3, because negative 7 plus 10 is 3. You get the point 2, 3, and you are done.